Now we're going to learn how to attach these dinosaur arms. I've made one of them so far, and I'll show you how to make the other one on the other side. So to start with, take the yarn that you're going to attach and make a slip knot with it. To make a slip knot, you're going to need to hold onto the yarn so that it's like a candy cane, where the short end of the candy cane is on the left and then the stem of the candy cane is on the right. You're going to hold on to it with your left hand, like so, and then you're going to pick up the yarn tail and cross it over on top of the stem, so that if you were to hold on to this intersection point with your right hand and then put your left thumb and index finger under the gap, you would have the number 4. Now we're going to just flip our left hand over and pick up the stem of that 4 and then pull it through the loop and then tug on the yarn tail until a knot forms. That's the slip knot. Don't worry about the size of the slip knot. We're going to adjust it once we put it on the hook. So grab your hook. And if you're right-handed, the slip knot is going to be to the left of the hook. And if you're left-handed, the slip knot will be to the right of the hook. Now you're going to just pull on the yarn that's attached to the yarn ball until that slip knot is right up against the hook. But remember, you don't want it like really tight snug against the hook, because then it will be impossible for you to move the hook through the loop. So make sure that the loop on your hook is as big as the tip of your hook. And you can just check that you can easily take your hook completely out of that loop like so. All right, now grab your dinosaur and count down the rounds until you get to the gap that is between rounds 12 and 13. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And we want to put the arm right under the eye, so somewhere around here. So now we're going to insert the hook from the back to the front of the dinosaur, spanning about 1 stitch in that spot that's between rounds 12 and 13. Now we're going to do what's called the slip stitch join, which means we're going to hold on to the working yarn like we normally do, and then we're going to yarn over and bring that yarn through everything. So both the stitch that we put the hook under as well as the loop that's on the hook. Ta-da! All right, now we're going to chain 3. So that means yarning over, pulling that through the loop that's on the hook. That is 1 chain. And here, if I rotate it, you can see the V that's made. We're going to do that 2 more times. So here's the 2nd chain, and here's the 3rd chain. Now we are going to do a single crochet stitch in the 2nd chain from the hook. So we have the loop that's on the hook, that doesn't count as a stitch. Then we have a V that loop traces back into. That is the 1st chain from the hook. We're going to skip that and we're going to use our hook to split that 2nd chain, that 2nd V. So it looks like this. Stick your hook in between the V, like so. So it looks like you have 2 loops on the hook. And now you do a single crochet stitch like you normally do. So that's a yarn over, pull that yarn through just the 1st loop on the hook, so you're left with 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over again, pull it through both loops on the hook. All right, 1 single crochet stitch done. Now let's do the 2nd one in the next chain. So you can see that you've split this chain. I can tell that I have crocheted into this hole. That's part of why that hole got bigger. So I want to go split the V that's next to it, like so. And remember, it should look like you only have 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull that yarn through the 1st loop that's on the hook, so you have 2 loops left on your hook. Yarn over, and pull it through both loops on the hook. Now you're done with your 2nd single crochet stitch, and to finish the arm, We're gonna slip stitch in exactly the same spot, exactly the same way as that original slip stitch. So take a look at where this knotted mess is of where your slip stitch join was. Should be roughly under where the eye is. And we're gonna put our hook under the same spot, again, from the back to the front of the dinosaur. Yarn over and then pull that yarn through everything, both the stitch you put the hook under and the loop that's on the hook. Whoop, if you're like me and lost it, don't worry, just undo and do it again. Okie doke. All right, slip stitch complete. Now I'm tightening it a bit by pulling on the yarn tail. We're gonna fasten off. So that means we're going to yarn over and pull that yarn through the loop that's on the hook. Keep on pulling and cut the yarn so that it's roughly the same length as this yarn tail, so about 6 inches. I only have a little bit of yarn tail left, so I'm just going to pull the whole thing through without bothering to cut it. But I am going to now take both these yarn tails, I'm going to tighten it a little bit so that I make that knot a little bit smaller. Then I'm gonna actually tie a knot with the 2 yarn tails, like so. And at this point, I am gonna go ahead and trim my longer yarn tail, like so. Thread the tapestry needle. And now I'm going to look for the spot that this knot is coming out of. And I want to hide these yarn tails inside the piece. I'm going to weave the yarn tails in. So I'm just going to pick some arbitrary point that's like somewhere across from where the needle's going in. Pull it tight enough so that that knot disappears, like so. And I have a little bit of yarn tail left, so I'm gonna try to stick it in exactly the same point and out some other point of the dinosaur to get the yarn tail even more tangled up in the stuffing to make it even more secure. All right, and then I'm going to trim the extra yarn tail. Great, and now we have 2 little arms, little dinosaur arms. Hooray!